Chairman recognizes the very gentle lady from New York, Ms. Velazquez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Reaper, I believe that a strong and well-functioning secondary market should encourage lending to all income levels and communities. So my question to you is, what is the best thing we can do to ensure that private investors continue to invest in the secondary market? And what type of front-end or back-end credit risk transfer should we be looking at? And will that help first-time buyers or lower-income borrowers?
I believe that the best way to address affordable lending standards, low-income borrowers, is with a responsible lending platform that has three basic components. That is one of financial literacy and education to help inform borrowers that the responsibility they're taking on before they get into a mortgage product. I think that product guidelines need to be set forth that sort of put guardrails on the system, that we're not offering mortgage products to borrowers that have this concept of a teaser rate initially and then escalated cost after a period of time. These are some of the sorts of products that cause problems in the market. And I think a third element is we really need to think carefully about making mortgage loans to borrowers, especially low-income borrowers, when housing markets are overheated, housing prices are overinflated. In that scenario, based on the credit risk analytic work that we do, when borrowers get into a property that's significantly overvalued, their propensity to default, to reach financial stress, to not be able to make their mortgage payments increases dramatically, anywhere from 5 to 10-fold. And so we need to think carefully about extending mortgage credit to a borrower when prices are overheated, because this has a significant, disproportionate impact, especially on low-income borrowers. I think if we have a framework like that, then private capital will show up and support that.
Dr. Watcher.
Yes.
Would you please respond
I
to
think that the potential for front-end discounts to be pro-cyclical is great. Therefore, at good times, the front end would be there pricing at good times, and bad times it withdraws. And in the good times, it has the potential for effectively raising prices and creating a bubble if it goes too far. That destabilizes the market, raising risk overall, and that higher risk overall will be eventually priced in and will cause less affordability. What we need is a stable system which will then be less risky so that the market pricing of that less risk makes housing more affordable. This goes in the other direction.
Thank you. Mr. Cantor, in addition to exploring various types of front-end and back-end credit risk transfers, the GSEs have also explored expanding their investor profiles in the CRTs, including REITs. What advantages do you believe expanding the investor profiles in CRTs will have? And do you believe that expanding the CRTs could disrupt the TBA market?
So, no, I think the CRT market today is functioning very well, and the TBA market is functioning very well. So as the system stands today, there are no issues with TBA or the CRT market. As one of the members mentioned earlier, the transition to a new system is extremely important, probably just as important as the system that's actually decided upon. But in terms of the REITs, the GSEs have been innovative. They've come out with a new structure that will make the CRTs more REIT-friendly. So here we're talking about mortgage REITs. So that's a dedicated pool of capital that invests in mortgage products. And so we're going to see that as positive because it brings down the cost of credit risk transfer. The more investors that there are, brings down the cost of Fannie and Freddie. And when that cost comes down, it means that potentially it has an effect on the G fee, which can affect the borrower. Or even if it doesn't do that, it means that the U.S. taxpayer is paying less for the insurance, which ultimately is good for the taxpayer.
Thank you. And I guess I'll yield back.
The gentle lady yields back. The chair